On this episode of the Bronze Metalist Podcast, we talk about South of Reality by the Claypool Lennon Delirium. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Medalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters. We like metal, and we like to talk about it. And sometimes we like to talk about things that ain't metal.
Yeah.
There we go. That works.
Yes.
And we take usually March and September to talk about it. September. So
okay, give us a little break here because it's the week of
daylight savings time.
Yeah, and we are speaking of delirium.
Yeah, I've been a fucking wreck all week. Mm-hmm. Like the time change has got me all fucked up. Then Monday was like really stressful for me. Mm-hmm. Some new stuff to figure out how to do. We have basketball games at work, and I just have not been able to get a good night's sleep since fucking daylight savings time started. Mm-hmm. And I'm so fucking sick of it. I might be getting a cold. I don't know. It might just have been allergies earlier today.
I have been coughing up entire ponds.
That's why I assumed I was getting sick because you're sick, and if you get sick, then I get sick.
Right,
that's how it works.
We share the air half the time.
But yeah, because before lunch, I could feel myself like I felt like I was getting feverish, and the back of my throat felt scratchy. I was like, I'm probably getting fucking sick. So when I went home for lunch, I downed a little cup of Dayquil, and Dayquil obviously isn't supposed to put you to sleep the way that NyQuil is, but it's still got some shit in there that's going to make you a little woozy for the rest of the day.
And I feel like, and again, I'm telling you, no offense, but I feel like you're a little bit chemically maladjusted anyway.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Like if you give Ritalin to a regular person, they're gonna go bounce off the walls. But if you give it to like a ADHD person, it's like, oh, I'm cool now.
Yeah, I've not experienced what that kind of stimulant would do to me.
Right.
But I can safely say that I've been fighting to stay awake for most of the day.
Sure.
With varying degrees of success. So we're here.
And here's a crazy thing. I kind of hope you do get a cold.
Why?
Because with every passing year, anytime I get kind of sick, that voice in the back of my head gets louder. It's like, you got cancer. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this is cold. Oh, this is cold. It's cool. Kale got sick too. It's a virus. I'll get better.
Oh, okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So I've been coughing up stuff. I'm like,
as long as it's contagious, it's not
cancer.
Yeah, okay. I see. I feel like that's not the best warning system possible.
No, you're right. I mean, I should go to a fucking doctor.
Maybe give that a shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just been. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It might also be allergies because I've felt like a couple of days since it's been warm, and when it the way that the weather works in North Dakota is that for the first month, 2 months, when it's warm enough that the snow melts, the trees don't trust it. Rightly so.
Right.
They do not trust it, and also we don't really get much rain. And so it's just dry and dusty
and gross
and disgusting. I hate spring. Spring is by far my least favorite season. I hate it, but because
good thing your birthday's in spring.
Yeah, because
something to look forward to.
So yeah, there's something to look forward to in spring. But it's so early in spring is the thing. It's right at the beginning of spring.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there, it's just dusty and gross. There's dirt and sand everywhere because the sanders went out while it was winter to keep the roads good.
So we didn't get
for
in
driving
accidents.
on.
Yeah.
and it just blows around. And if you got allergies, you're not in the spring pollen season yet.
Right.
But it still messes with you.
And of course, everything that died over the winter, as soon as it's 40 degrees for a couple of days, you can smell all the death.
Yeah, the smells just emerge. It's gross and bad, and I hate it.
And it's fits and starts. It's we'll have in February we'll have a week where it's 50 degrees, and then all of a sudden it's 50 below again, and then that's for another couple of weeks, and then it's warm, and then we have fourth winter, and then we have
because it warms up. Then there's more moisture in the air, but it's not quite warm enough, so that moisture in the air, as soon as it cools down a little bit, turns into snow, and then it snows again, and then it's warm again. That happened literally in the last 24 hours. It snowed about an inch overnight, and now it has all melted. And it just goes back and forth, the fucking yo-yoing. It might be back down to the 20s this weekend.
Oh, yeah, and overnight anyway.
Yeah.
And that's not good for the immune system.
I think up north, the daytime high for Botno, I think, was going to be in maybe the upper teens, I saw, or some shit.
20s. It'll be
upper 20s.
Like on Sunday, I believe.
But, yeah, it's just... spring is a stupid season.
Yeah, it's shit.
It's absolute dog shit.
We have 2.5 months of summer. We have 2.5 weeks of fall.
Yep.
And then we have 8 winters.
and a few intermittent weeks of spring in the midst of that winter, and then who knows? We might be in the middle of a spring week, or we might be at the tail end of a spring week when it decides it's going to be summer, or we might go straight from winter to summer.
That happens. It's weird when that happens.
You might have snow at the beginning of May, and then a week later it's 75 degrees.
Because if you see a picture of your friend from North Dakota standing there in a tank top and shorts and slides, and they're standing into a giant pile of snow, and you're thinking, what, are they fucking stupid? It's freezing there. No, it's 70 degrees.
Yeah, it's just the snow hasn't had enough time to melt yet.
Yeah, yesterday it was 30 degrees, but today it's 70 degrees.
This state is a nightmare. Why do people live here?
Yeah.
I mean, I say that, but people have lived here for a very long time.
Millennia.
So, there are worse, much less hospitable places in the North American continent that people have lived for thousands of years. So, this ain't that bad.
There are Inuits who be calling us pussies right now.
Yeah. Well, and watched there's a YouTube channel I came across. It's called The Desert Drifter, where he just does a lot of hiking out in the Southwest, and there's all of these places that he has hiked to, where you'll find the classic cliffside dwellings that the Native Americans built in some of the most inhospitable country in the continent.
Right.
And they were doing fine. That's wild. That guy, by the way, about a month ago, I think, got into an absolutely horrendous car accident.
Oh no!
Apparently, and he's suffered some brain damage.
Oof.
I started watching the videos or his videos, and then I think I started watching his videos a week after that happened. I was like, oh my god, that's terrible. But I don't know if he's going to be okay or not. But yeah, his content is very cool. So I guess a way to support him would be to watch his content. It's really neat. He has that I didn't know at the top or very near the top, one of the peaks of Grand Teton. Not the summit, but there's a little peak just below the summit. There's a structure there.
Really?
That the Native Americans built, who knows how long ago. There's a little structure, like a stone circle that was built near the top of Grand Teton.
Nice.
That was, they believe it may have been a destination site for like vision quests and stuff.
Nice.
But it would mean that you have to hike basically all the way to the top of Grand Teton,
Right.
which it's not the craziest hike. Like like he was doing that climb.
Now is it a hike or a climb?
I mean it's mostly a hike from the video. He was able to get all the way up to the summit, and it's not that like absolutely wild. Like it's pretty tall, but you have to remember also, by the time you are just at the foot of the mountain, you're already technically most of the way up its height if you're considering its height from sea level.
Sure.
Because Wyoming is already pretty high up, or that part of Wyoming is pretty high up anyway.
Right.
So
up from Jackson Hole.
yeah, so climbing up from like the lakes, basically at the base of the mountain, is not that not quite that crazy. I think it still took him, I think, like a couple. He had to stay overnight, I think. But
My physical therapist, because I'm that old now, he told me, he says, "Hey, we go climbing the Tetons. You should come climbing with us." I'm like, "Cool, hit me up when you go. I'll give you an answer then."
You've seen me, right?
Yeah.
You are a physical therapist. You're looking at me right now.
You just did work where I almost fell over and started crying, right?
And yeah, sure.
You want me to come? All right.
See, I wouldn't want to do that because there's so many friggin' bears in that area. Like I remember the last time my family went to Yellowstone, it was just me and my mom and dad, and we passed through Grand Teton National Park, and we stopped and got lunch, and there were trails like right next to the diner where we had lunch. You could walk off into the woods, but next to the trailhead was a sign that says, basically saying like, have your bells and your bear mace. And that was,
right.
It's so weird to me that like, cause like Wyoming's not that far away. It's not that far away from where we are, but yet the idea that there is wildlife that is that dangerous to you.
I mean, we have dangerous wildlife here.
We do. We have like mountain lions, but
rattlesnakes and coyotes.
But occasionally, like I don't know if there's been a documented mountain lion attack in North Dakota since they kind of sort of started showing back up. Because that was when I was like, in middle school, when they just I don't know if they were reintroduced quietly or if they just sort of, there was some weird kind of migration back into the state, but like you didn't hear about mountain lions, and then all of a sudden when I was in middle school they started popping up, and like the Game and Fish Department said, okay, you can, hunters can take 5 of them a year, and that sort of thing.
I like the idea that there are mountain lions in North Dakota.
Yeah, there's cougars.
Yeah, sure.
Cougars, if you want to call them that instead.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those.
Hey.
They usually smell like spiced rum and cigarettes.
But yeah, like I think the thing with that weirds me out about bears is they're so big and can rip you limb from limb.
Right. I like the idea of, just a wandering grizzly bear. He's going through Wyoming there, maybe up the corner of Montana, gets to the North Dakota border. Nope.
Don't want to go there. Well, because like there's just such a void of the things that they would eat and habitat that they would like. They prefer trees and rivers and stuff.
They need a certain amount of cover.
Yeah.
I mean, you see a grizzly bear coming from miles away. I mean, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess I'll start walking the other way.
Yeah, and they don't tend to do a lot of hunting because most of what they eat is berries and other kinds of plants, and also the less cover there is, the less of that sort of food they're going to find.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, there used to be grizzly bears, but they lived along the Missouri River. White people killed all of them.
Sure.
That's kind of the only place in the state that the habitat they like was found. Like Lewis and Clark, when they came through, when they were poling their way up the river, they shot and killed one. I think somewhere around Bismarck.
Really?
I think where Bismarck is now.
It would have been Bismarck at the time.
No, there was nothing there at the time.
Right.
as far as I know anywhere.
Lewis and Clark come through, and suddenly there's this population 85,000 city.
And it's named after
a guy who hasn't been born yet.
Well, it was the early 1800s, so Otto von Bismarck might. Yeah, it was 1804. So Otto von Bismarck might have been a little German boy. Hello, I am Otto von Bismarck. I don't know what year he was born. Because he was his heyday was the 1870s, and he was already an old man.
Right.
So Otto von Bismarck. He was born 1815, so he had not been born yet at the time of Lewis and Clark, and that's important information for all of us to know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you used to work at the Lewis and Clark Visitor Center.
Yeah, for a summer.
Yeah.
And I grew up in Washburn, and that's the only thing that's the only thing that's there, other than a speed trap.
Right.
There's a speed trap. There's a Lewis and Clark Museum. There's the Fort Mandan replica.
There's a couple of cafes there.
Sure, but people that's not something that gets the town on the map, you know.
If you guys go to Washburn, North Dakota, on the south end of town, there's a bizarre grocery store.
Oh, you're talking about Krause's?
Krause's.
It's not that weird, is it?
I'm used to going to like one of the big box grocery stores here. You go to Krause's, they have the same amount of merchandise, but it's in about 20 square feet.
Yeah. That's just small town grocery stores. That's just how it goes. It is because my family occasionally, I think my mom would go to Krause's to get stuff, but for the most part, we would go down to Bismarck and go to Dan's or Cashwise or whatever.
If you were, hey, we got stuff for ham sandwiches. Ah, shit, we're out of mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Krause's.
If you just needed, a couple little things, but if you were packing the whole car full of groceries, you'd go down to Bismarck.
Right.
Because it's only, a 35-minute drive from my parents' house, which is south Washburn. But
yeah, I've only ever stopped in there on my way to Bismarck.
Yeah.
Guys.
North Dakota geography.
Yeah. And everybody agrees that's where you piss is Washburn.
Yes. If you're going from Minot to Bismarck, you stop in Washburn, stop at Senex or whatever, take a piss.
Right.
Or it didn't used to be. I think now that because the Interpretive Center used to be privately owned, but now I think it's state run. And the bathroom was not necessarily guaranteed to be open.
Right.
But now it is a public restroom, a fully public restroom. So, but when I worked there, it was still owned by the foundation, which was a private enterprise. So that was a thing where people would come in just to use the bathroom, and I don't remember what we were supposed to do, but stop them, I guess. I don't think we were supposed to do anything. But.
Hey, stop. Oh, we were peeing there. Oh, okay.
European in the toilet. So... Oh, God. Daylight savings time is stupid. It's stupid. It's dumb.
I don't know why that just reminded me of a joke I made up once and didn't know who to tell it to because I didn't think anybody would get it.
Okay.
Sometimes if you go into a First Nation visitor center in Manitoba, you go in the men's room, what you find in there is creepy.
Okay, I get it.
You get it?
Yeah, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. That's the name of a tribe, isn't it? Is it?
What?
No?
Cree, yeah.
Cree, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And there are a lot of them in Manitoba.
Cree, yeah, okay.
In Manitoba.
Yeah.
And not everybody flushes all the time.
Okay.
So sometimes you might find Cree pee.
Mm-hmm. No. So, the Claypool Lennon Delirium.
Yeah.
It's an American psychedelic / progressive rock band. I guess you could theoretically consider it a British American project, since Sean Lennon is theoretically British / He was born in New York, but he's.
I feel like he grew up in the United States, though.
He was born in New York. I think
and
after
his mom has lived here ever since.
After his dad died, I think he had a somewhat international upbringing.
Sure,
a little bit in Japan. I think some in the UK as well. But Sean Ono Lennon. Would be the youngest child of John Lennon and Yoko Ono.
He was their only child.
Yeah, the couple's only child.
Right.
John Lennon's second child. But the band consists of Sean and also consists of Les Claypool from Primus.
Yes.
And the two of them had been on tour together. Sean has been in a ton of different bands. But probably his longest running project is The Ghost of a Saber-Toothed Tiger.
Yep.
And they had been on tour with Primus. And they got done with the tour back in 2016, I think. And Les Claypool had been, he had wanted to make like a really kind of old school psychedelic rock album. And had, gotten to know Sean Lennon, and they'd become friends, and it was like, hey, why don't you come stay in my guest house for a bit and we'll just kind of jam and see what we come up with. And they, over the course of a few weeks, they wrote an album.
The one before this,
Monolith of Phobos.
Yes,
which I feel like is such a classic like prog / psychedelic type album title. And then later on, February 2019, they came out with this album called South of Reality. They supposedly, back in 2023, apparently Les said that they were working on something else, but that was 2 years ago.
Right.
So who knows what happened with that. But yeah, South of Reality is their second album. And I mean, like we had, I think not long after I started working at the station full time and we became friends, at some point not long after that, these guys came up. We were talking, I don't remember what the context of us finding out about this was.
You didn't tell me about this until 2020.
What? Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was earlier.
And there's a
that.
reason I have that cemented in my brain.
Why?
Because that's when my brother passed.
Okay.
You had told me about this, and I'd listened to it nonstop for a week, and then I got a call from Mom.
Okay.
Saying that he needed to come to New Mexico.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it had been earlier than that because for whatever reason I remember us. I mean, it probably was the case. We were for the most of 2020, we were still in the office.
Yeah.
It wasn't until November of 2020 that we started working from home.
Was it not until November? We worked in the summer. We were working at the office.
We were working in the office over the summer because it wasn't bad in North Dakota until the fall. That's when the infection rate started ramping up pretty massively. Was in the fall, but for the first first like 5 months of the pandemic, we were pretty much fine.
And I think they justified sticking us in the office because we do this thing.
Yeah,
and they're like, you guys are breathing the same air all the time.
You guys are around each other all the time anyway, so yeah,
who gives a shit? Just hang out here.
Yeah, like the only people that started working from that at first that were working from home were the salespeople who had an easier time of working from home anyway. There wasn't anything technical for them to figure out the way that there was for the DJs.
Right.
But yeah, but anyway, for whatever reason I remember it being earlier, but it very well may not. You're probably entirely correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, is like us finding out about this, like, wait, John Lennon's son and Les Claypool, and then we listened to it and went, that sounds exactly like you would think it would.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's crazy how much it sounds like you think it would. Because like I mean, Sean's singing voice sounds a lot like his father's.
Yeah.
He sounds a lot like John Lennon, and he looks a lot like John Lennon as well.
Only he's slightly Japanese.
For the obvious reasons.
Right.
But yeah, he's singing voice sounds a lot like his father, and he decided to, the type of music that he was interested in making was, I mean, if you think about it at all, the type of music he was raised on, I'm sure, because that's what, that's the musical culture he was, I'm sure, immersed in.
Right.
Was
like all the Beatles stuff after '66. Was,
yeah. Weird psychedelic rock, and
kinda, yeah.
Mom is a avant-garde musician. Like, yeah, that's of course he would. If he became a musician, he was going to make some weird stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, it sounds like that. And you introduce Les Claypool into the mix as well, and it's just going to get even weirder.
And here's the thing. Yes, it's very weird, and it's even weirder than you might think, but it's also very accessible. It's also very listenable.
It's not it's
not Residence weird.
Yeah, it's not Captain Beefheart.
Right.
It's it's bizarre, but like you said, it's comfortably weird.
Yeah.
I would call it. A Pink Floyd song that didn't get written.
Comfortably weird.
Comfortably weird.
Those are the original lyrics.
Yeah. That's what I like to think of myself as most of the time. Is comfortably weird.
Right. But that's only at home, because in public, I know it, at least for me, I'm uncomfortably weird.
Okay.
I'm uncomfortable / weird.
Well, being I am also weird and uncomfortable myself.
Yeah.
But I like to think that while others might find me weird, I am not, to them, uncomfortably weird. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm not
they're two different ideas.
Yeah. I'm not so weird that other people are like, ugh, that guy.
Right.
They're just like, oh yeah, that guy, he's kind of weird, but he's nice. He's all right. He's not hurting nobody.
You know what? I realized I have a little bit of a ritual now.
Okay.
That I just started recently. Because it's on the way home. I stop over at the Wangs and Rangs, and I'll get like a salad and a beverage, and I will spend like a half hour amongst people. Right.
Amongst the humans, to learn from them.
Because during the day, I'm in my element with, my people,
yeah.
so I can just be whatever, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about it. At home, I'm alone always, and therefore I don't have to worry about anything. But if I go into like just a normal person restaurant where they're table of dudes sit back talking about the game,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm one of them. I'm one of them. I'm one of them. I'm one of them.
Pretend.
Yeah.
Learn. Observe. What do they do?
I'm a human man.
It is me, OJ, human man. I'm Jackie Daytona, normal human bartender. I've been thinking about doing something like that recently. Of like, like once a week, maybe I should go and get breakfast somewhere or go and eat dinner. Something like Friday afternoons. What if after work? What if I went and got dinner
it's actually
at a restaurant?
Fine idea. I mean, I actually enjoy. And here's another cool part about going in and trying to normalize myself among the humans.
Yeah. Humans?
Humans.
Are you a Ferengi?
It's funny, they don't take gold pressed latinum at Wangs and Rangs. But here's the thing, they've kind of accepted me, sort of Captain Jack in the Ocean style. Like, I come in and they're like, "Oh, it's you. Hey, I know what you like.
That guy.
Hey, you want a menu, or you can just have the usual. I've been. Hey, how's the kids?"
Yeah.
Like, are they treating me like I'm one of the humans?
You've become a regular.
Yeah.
I became a regular in a less fun way at Popeyes for a while.
Right.
Where before I moved, when I would go into Popeyes, because I'd always get the same thing.
Sure.
And I'd walk in, and because of the time I got there, usually the same person was working as this nice African American lady, and she would look at me just kind of dead faced, not smiling like she was happy to see me, but not displeased or anything, which is how it always is at Popeyes. That's the best you can ask for at Popeyes. That's glowing service at Popeyes, because most of the time you walk in there and they're like, "The fuck do you want?"
There was one guy working there who clearly has to be driven to work, but he was like, "Hey, how you doing? You want to see what's on special right now? This is great. This is going on." I'm like, "I want to back away."
Yeah.
But the rest of them, no. Yeah. Dead-eyed soulless.
But yeah, she'd be like, "You want the same thing?" Be like, "Yeah." Like, just embarrassed just to be like, "Yes, I want. Yes, I want the chicken tenders again, please."
You go in, you look at the menu, you can't see her, but she's rolling her eyes back there like,
This guy. But I feel like that can't be too bad though, because it's like, well, I don't have to think about what he wants.
Yeah.
Just get the thing. We don't have to have an interaction, which is great for me, and I'm sure it's good for her too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like that. That's not the kind of regular I want to be.
Right.
I want to be norm. I want to be. You want it. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. But yeah, I would walk in, and she'd just be like, "You want the same thing again?" Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. And it was kind of nice to be known a little bit, but then I moved. I don't think I've gone into Popeyes since I moved.
You moved 2 blocks away.
Yeah, but it's I get much less fast food in general,
right?
Just because it's less convenient to just hop in my car and go and get fast food.
Also, this is a grown-up apartment.
Yeah, true.
It costs probably significantly more than your other one.
Yeah, but I'm making more money now because I picked up an extra shift at work. So that's the higher cost of rent has been offset by doing the sunny shift that I'm doing now at work. But
were we supposed to turn in our paychecks today?
She asked for them, but I don't think we had to get that. I think she's doing it tomorrow or Friday.
Okay, I'll remember to do that. Sorry.
But I don't think payday is technically till Monday, because the 15th is Saturday. So I think she was saying that.
I think payday's then on Friday.
Well, then you better do it tomorrow morning.
I'm going to do it tonight.
There you go. We were talking about music at some point. There was a point where we were talking about music.
Yeah.
So yeah, I said it before. This album, if you think about the 2 constituent parts, is what you would think it is. Mm-hmm. But like you said, it is. It still feels accessible. Mm-hmm. A lot of the lyrics feel very tongue in cheek.
Yes.
It's got that Primus flavor of like, occasionally touching on a somewhat serious topic, but in such a sort of satirical voice that it's kind of funny.
Yeah. Which always kind of made a lot of Primus songs very sharp for me. Like he's talking about, wait a minute, what did you say?
What is that actually about, though?
He's talking about, this is a song about suicide. And he's making me laugh. I don't feel comfortable being me right now.
Yeah, it definitely has that effect on it. I believe the vast majority of the vocals are Sean's, but occasionally, most of Les's vocal contributions are like on harmonies and stuff. But there's
a lot of Les on here, but yeah,
there's a couple where he does take the lead vocal on. For me, most of Les is the bass, which is this is. Wait, are you telling me an album Les Claypool appeared on was very bass forward? Who would have thought?
He does the vocals on South of the Path.
Yes.
So, yeah.
But I feel like at least I wasn't paying super duper close attention. Mm-hmm. But I think most of the lead vocals were Sean's anyway. Mm-hmm. Definitely if you're a fan of Les Claypool's bass playing, you'll songwriting. Yeah, there's a lot to sink your teeth into in this one. Mm-hmm. This album slap?
Yeah.
It's slappa the bass.
Uh-huh.
Although I don't know if he actually does slap bass all that often.
Not on this. Not a whole lot. He does. There's a good deal of tap bass. There's a good deal of stand-up bass.
Yeah.
On here.
I think he usually plays sort of. He doesn't. I don't think Les Claypool plays with a pick.
No.
It's always.
You couldn't do what he does with a pick.
Yeah. What?
I need to buy a pick on the way home.
Oh yeah, did you get your guitar?
I got my guitar.
Yeah, because that's something we talked about after we stopped recording last week, because we were talking about like hobbies you could pick back up.
Right, and it was sort of your influence. I don't think you consciously said it, but you were talking about things we could do, because I'm losing the use of my left arm. I said
for
it right
some
that
reason,
time.
yeah.
And so I thought, well, I needed to strengthen it and get my guitar back.
Could play guitar again.
And I don't know if you read it psychically or what, but Monday I was working and I got a message from my 18-year-old saying, "Hey, Dad, do you want your guitar?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah." said, well, you going to be up when I'm off work? Yeah, come on over.
Yeah.
And gave me a free amp.
What the fuck?
Yeah, a Marshall.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I got this this is extra equipment in his significant other's basement. He said, and they said, just take it, give it to your dad.
What in the hell? That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. But yeah, pick up. I actually have a pick right here.
Do you?
I think it's technically a bass pick. Because I liked that it was just thick and...
yeah, that's the kind I use. I use the kind that are made out of basically concrete. Is it purple? Is it a purple Tortex?
No, it is. It's kind of brown. But yeah, it's like a heavy Fender bass pick.
Hell yeah!
Sweet, thank you. The acoustic guitar that I gave to you at some point. You gave to Maximus. Then you gave it to Max. When I was playing around with learning to play guitar and didn't get around to it. That's the kind of pick that I picked up.
I hope I'm not going to be discouraged by the fact that I've lost the strength of my left hand.
Well, just start simple.
Yeah.
And work up to the more complicated stuff, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. I'd forgotten that pick was sitting in there.
Sweet.
Well, I guess I hadn't forgotten because I remembered when prompted. That's usually the test of memory.
It just wasn't top of mind.
Exactly. So this album has 78% on Metacritic, which is pretty all right. What's your favorite song on this album?
I mean, it's gone back and forth. I mean, this album has a lot of sort of emotional baggage in my brain.
Yeah.
Because I used this when I went down to New Mexico to be with my family, who I don't really get along with all that well. And also we were burying my brother.
Yeah.
And so I listened to this album like, Les and Sean.
Yeah. This
Make me happy. And then after a while, I started to associate it with that. And then listening to it again here, almost 5 years later.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, though, this was actually good.
This was actually, there's enough distance now where you can sort of separate the association a little bit.
Yeah. But the song I think I listened to the most was Blood and Rockets.
Okay. For me, I picked Amethyst Realm.
Great song.
That one, it felt the most kind of earnest to me. It lacked some of the biting kind of satire, and just felt I don't know. There was something a little bit more serious, a little bit more of a serious edge to it that I liked. There was a vibe there. On the subject of like albums that have been ruined because of bad situations. The two of the guys from Killswitch Engage had have a side project that was called Times of Grace, and I had started listening to one of their albums when my dad was going through chemo, and so for the longest time, I haven't listened to it in an extremely long time because it's also not quite the style of music I really vibe with anymore. But for a while afterwards, that album was kind of associated with that period, which all in all wasn't that awful. Like, my dad's fine now.
Sure.
But it was definitely a very weird period of, my dad coming home from work and immediately like passing out and going to take a nap and whatnot because it, pretty much all the energy he had to spare was spent while he was at work, and he'd get home and he'd come. There were several times he would come say hi to me, and I'd been home for a while from school, and I was playing video games or whatever.
Yeah.
And he would come into my room and say hi to me, and he'd sit down on my bed and just fall asleep. He would just fall right asleep, and he would stay there until dinner, and I'd leave him there because I'm not going to wake him up.
Well, treatment sucks all the energy out.
Yeah, it's shit. But yeah, I would just let him take a nap there. And there were a couple times where he'd wake up and be like, "Why didn't you wake me up and tell me to get out?" And I was like, "I'm not gonna wake you up. You're fine." But yeah, that album kind of got associated with all that, and it kind of got mixed up with those feelings. But what metal do you bestow upon this album, like Maz Kanata to Chewbacca?
I guess it's a gold for me.
Okay, it's a silver for me.
Yeah,
I like it for sure. But it's I don't know, not quite my speed.
Right.
But I like it.
But I'm definitely going to listen to it several more times.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why sometimes I turn into Butters from South Park. Well, I like this album, but it's all right, I guess. But yeah, next week, I don't yet know what we're going to do. You floated an idea I'm still mulling over if we wanted to do that next week or the week after. I don't know, because sometimes in March we tend to watch a movie. And so the idea of watching Glenn Danzig's Verotica was proposed, which is a movie I've put off watching for a long time because it just seems like an absolute train wreck. That's the thing. Like we kind of go back and forth between good movies and awful movies as far as what movies we watch.
What was the last one we watched? Was it Green Room? No.
No, I think the last movie we watched was Cats.
Wow.
Which was a while ago. We've gone without movies for a while.
A few years.
Yeah, I think that may have been the last movie we watched. So
that would have been in 2020.
Yeah, that would have been March of 2020. So I don't know. I think that was the last one. I might be wrong. Clearly, our memories are not in tip-top shape at the moment.
No, because we're exhausted and delirious.
Hey.
We have the Claypool Lennon Delirium.
Hey! If not that, then we might, I haven't been committed thus far to keeping March a non-metal month, so I might stick with that and just have us say fuck it and have us listen to either the new Spirit Box album or the new Whitechapel album. Because holy fuck.
I haven't made it to the Spirit Box album yet. It's not out yet, actually, is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is out? Okay.
It's out.
I need to get that. I listened to the new Whitechapel album. In fact, the other day I was feeling kind of bad, and I had started to listen to it on my phone, and then I got in my car, and it synced with my phone, and it played that at full volume, and I went, I feel better now.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. That is one of the heaviest and most evil sounding albums I have ever listened to.
And that's saying a lot.
Yeah. So I think we're going to talk about Whitechapel next week.
All right.
I think it's been decided.
I'm down.
We'll talk about Whitechapel's newest album, Hymns in Dissonance, next week.
I think we're going to listen to the new Spirit Box on the way home. I love them a lot.
It's the new album's really good.
Yeah.
I think I have gotten all the way through it now. It's really, really good. I enjoyed that quite a lot. But I feel like I gotta talk about that new Whitechapel.
Yeah.
Holy shit. All right. So that's next time. Thank you for listening to this time. You go ahead and subscribe to our feed on whatever service you use to listen to us. Until you hear from us again, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Bronze Metalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations.